there'll be so many people listening to this thinking they're in that kind of, they've got their safe job, they've got their 9 to 5, but they've got this kind of niggling feeling of maybe I should be doing something else, maybe I should be starting a business. Talk me through it from I don't have an idea to now we've got this idea and then leaving. How did that even happen?
So Jules, she's there again. So Jules and I lived together in corporate accommodation in Warrington, which
corporate accommodation.
Gotta love it. Warrington was such a riot as well. We had so much fun. But essentially, we had one of those conversations where it's like a bit like, you know, your best mate at uni and you like your guy friend. You're like, oh, well, if we're not married by 30, we'll just get together.
Right.
And we kind of had this conversation was like, let's see where things go. But if we haven't sort of in 10 years' time figured out a business separately, let's do it together. And actually that became this kind of kernel of an idea that we sort of kept pulling on when we were living there, which was she would bat ideas to me and I'd bat them back and we just kind of go around. And the one that stuck was she wanted to take up piano again and she started looking on Yellow Pages because that was still like yell.com was still a thing. And it was like out-of-date reviews, no pricing, people were not in business and she had to ring them round. And she's like, this is just not, no, we need like a sort of like like, what about like a music directory? And I was like, nah, that's a shit idea. But then I had wisteria on the front of my house and I needed trimming. And I didn't want like Pimlico plumbers to turn up with their fleet. I just wanted like, you know, Mike the gardener at the bottom of the street. And so this thread became like, why can you buy anything off eBay or Amazon, but you can't find anyone easily in your neighborhood, right? Can I just don't ever do a local services business. Just going to put it
okay.
Nothing localized it's the scaling of it is so hard. Right. Anyway, so it's that sort of that, and we called it Teddle because it's like a bit like Google and like it's got that sort of like play on words. And the way that we ended up leaving was, and the story is so well known, I won't bore you with it, but I was driving one day, she called me up and she's like, are you sitting down? I was like, yeah, I'm driving. She's like, you better pull over. And I was like, Jesus, who's died? And she's like, don't get mad at me, but I've quit my job. And at this point, she's like the youngest ever senior manager at PwC. Like, because she was, what was Jules being like 20 something? I mean, she graduated uni at 19. Like, she's very bright. And I was like, what? And she was like, but don't worry, because I've bought a book. I was like, oh, Jesus, well, then the world is fine. She's like, no, just come round. So anyway, I went round to her house in Clapham and she'd literally spent evenings and weekends learning how to build Twitter from a book so that she couldn't copy and paste like on the internet. And she then messed around with it and created basically what was just a simple booking engine. And this for me was like being like in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. I was like, oh my God, this is insane. And so she'd quit her job and this kind of kept going on. And she just kept saying to me, like, you know, just jump in, the water's not cold.
Wow.
And she kept saying it over and over again. And I was really scared. And when she went to tell her manager at PwC that she was leaving, she said he just sort of wistfully leaned back in his chair and he's like, I had a business idea once. And she's like, you can't be that guy. You can't be that guy. So I went in to tell Omar, and I don't even know if Omar still remembers this. I hope he listens to this and realizes how instrumental he was. I went in and I was like, look, I want to quit. Not because I don't love it here, but because of this. And I remember I had to go to his house, and he lives next to Stella McCartney, and Stella McCartney came out of and got in a taxi, and then he was like running late, so he's like, you just got to get in this taxi with me. So I ended up in the back of the black cab, like some James Corden sing along, and I'm pitching him my idea, and he's like, Alex, I don't want you to leave Accenture. He's like, go down to 1 day a week, choose whatever day you want. So I chose a Friday because the client loved me at the time, they didn't want me to leave. He's like, do it for 6 months, and if at 6 months, you know, you want to come back, your job's there. And if you don't want to come back, then you've got my blessing.
What a guy.
Absolutely. So I got paid 25 grand, was like my pro rata of my salary. I went down to the client every Friday, and the other 4 days a week for 6 months, I just worked on this business with Jules, and we got on an accelerator, and that was like before accelerators were a thing. And that was really helpful at finding out how shit we were. So it's just like, man, Jules, we are not good at this. But that was sort of the journey. And so the thing that I always say to people, to like just segue into like, kind of like, how do you do it? Is I know it is scary, but actually, if you save up enough money for 6 months, or you go and tell your boss, because we've done it at Resi, like we've given sabbaticals, we've allowed people to go off and develop ideas, particularly in like startup tech world. It's a very big thing. I mean, Revolut's got a whole internal culture where you're meant to be the CEO of your own startup. Like, they actively want their employees to be spinning out other businesses. You might surprise yourself what good bosses will do if you've got a good boss. Otherwise, save up 6 months' salary, and you've got enough. In 6 months, you know whether you've got something there or not. And actually, by that point, once you're gone, because the thing is, this is addictive. Once you're in, you're probably not going to go back again.